This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. You may regenerate 2 other basic parts, please.
It's gotta be this, I think. Yeah.
You feel your arms start to stitch themselves back together a little bit as well, as you hear the sound of some of the turrets that have been placed up on the rafters kind of clatter down as their now deactivated state prevents them from clutching onto whatever they were grasping, and you hear one of them fall off of a rooftop, sailing downward, colliding with one of the building walls, and just continuing to send echoes of destruction as it falls. And you continue leaping, continue moving, jump across the rooftops and find an entrance into one of the more solid walls of buildings.
As she moves and runs deeper into collector territory, she's like looking around. Does she see any sign of whatever I could be referring to going on just in the city itself?
So the difficulty with this sort of city, with the way, especially in this part of the city, it's that you can't just kind of look around at a skyline of any kind. You are just always locked into corridors and shafts and just, it's permanent indoors, basically. The way in which that area you were in was an exception, that it had somehow ended up with a bit more of an open plan, but even then was roofed in. You were told that it was the Palm Building, which was, I believe, I forget the exact name I gave, but it was specifically off of a different building. You have 2 building names that you can try to track down. You have spent a round of time, and because you managed to direct your healing, it is only a round of time. I am going to ask you now to please make me a D10 roll, and please give yourself a +1 because you have actually explored this area once before, if you remember.
She's still riding the high of the battle. Her mind is being strained to the limit. She's not in the mood to have a sense of direction right now.
Would you like to attempt to re-roll that?
Oh, that is true. I could.
This is a scene. So so for people who don't know, there is a way that I generally treat this stuff, because there will be certain things which are just once per round, whatever, that kind of a thing. Where if it is ever relevant in an out of combat scene, which hasn't been super relevant up till now, I will instead treat it as once per scene. And this current moment is a new scene, which means that I am gonna allow you to heart to reroll that for free if you would like.
Okay, a heart reroll? Gotcha. Let's give it a shot. Okay, that's better.
Enough. That is an 8. You are trying to call to mind the corridors that you were in before, the places that you were going. It is, as you are frantically trying to remember, your bloodthirst kind of overtaking you, you feel this now much more clear sensation as your heart, normally there would be with any regular person, the adrenaline, you'd feel it slowly kind of wind down and slowly kind of, you'd feel yourself come back to you. But with this, it's almost as if the heart, your heart, actively decides to calm down. And it just takes a second and and instead of it taking a few minutes, it calms within the space of a few beats. And you feel your head clear a little bit. And you remember. You didn't see the palm building. You remember the other one, though. And you get to moving. It's as you're pulling through all of these different corridors that you find yourself walking into an area which previously you had steered away from because it was so ruined and it was so treacherous. And you instead push forward, you push onwards into the apartment building, and you make your way to a floor which you realize has an opening that will go across into this other building. You sure enough see that there is one of these bridges which, has been knocked through and is used to transfer horizontally at higher levels. I would like you to make a roll, please.
Ooh, nice.
You see immediately, this thing, the moment you step onto it, is going to start falling apart.
She runs.
I would like you to make a roll, and because I assume you're using your reflexes here...
Oh, certainly.
I will give you a +2 to this, because you somehow managed to keep your reflexes intact throughout all of that.
Okay.
You take a moment, you center yourself. You register the parts that look more stable, the parts that look more weak. You register exactly where you need to be making your steps. You rehearse it in your mind, and then you execute it. 1, 2, 3. And then you're on solid ground. You hear the sound of concrete and rebar crumbling to pieces behind you as you once again hear it all clattering through that vertical shaft, pitch black, as you hear just the clanging of it hitting various other unseen materials down the shaft. You turn around and you begin walking again. And you see, as you are making your way through this building, you eventually see the markings of, like, the floors that you're on, that kind of a thing. And you run into, as you're going up the stairs, you see that there is a group of civilians who are hurriedly making their way down. They kind of, like, push past you. They aren't, like, actively trying to stop you or anything. But as they do, you hear one of them kind of hesitates and stops and turns to look at you as they, like, kind of seemingly do a double take. And they go, Hey lady, what the hell are you doing? You need to get out of here. There's a fucking gang thing going on. There's gunfire.
She doesn't stop.
Hey, you're gonna get yourself killed. And not having any investment in you, trying to stop you, just you hear him kind of going into his voice receding into the distance. You eventually start to hear the sound of the gunfire. And as you pull out into this floor where you manage to use your senses to kind of triangulate where this must be going wrong, where this must be happening, you find yourself in one of these apartment hallways. The flickering lights, fluorescent lights above you, illuminating a scene of blood. You see an individual is on the floor, not FRI, someone you haven't seen before. They have cybernetics. There's a gun which has been destroyed. You see these claw marks raking across its primary body piece, and the blood coating the hallway. Some footsteps trailing from behind into the stairwell, which is what very much tipped you off that this is the place. Probably from the civilians who just left.
Does he seem to be dead?
I'm gonna make a roll, I think. You check him, you look down to him, trying to look for a sign of life. You see that the blood pool is still growing. The blood is still flowing. You hear shallow breaths from the man next to you. Can you give me a roll with a... I'm going to give you a roll with a +3 here, because you've been dealing with the collectors a lot lately.
Oh, jeez. Didn't even need it.
You, with a 13...
Where was this a bit ago? Christ.
I know, right? Jesus. You kind of, like, push him over with one of your feet in order to get a better look at him, so he's lying on his back instead of his front now. You crouch down next to him, the blood pooling around the soles of your boots, and he seemingly rouses a little bit as he looks to you. He's got this, like... It's not like a gas mask that's, like, built into his face like brimstone. It is just, like, a rebreather, almost, right?
Yeah.
And you look down. You go over his cybernetics, right? And you know how the collectors work, right? They have a hierarchy system. The more you do for them, the more of your debt you pay off, the more that you please them, the better cybernetics that you can get, which is precisely why Elizabeth managed to get hold of the things that she did. She was selling her supposed organ collection. You imagine paying off some of her debt to get access to better stuff. These guys don't have junk cybernetics. They're not rusted. He doesn't have, like, some old fixer-upper on his arm or something. It's like a mid-tier cybernetic. It's something that, for all intents and purposes, should be on someone from the collectors who is a big enough deal that they wouldn't have gotten murked like this. Then again, it is FRI. Maybe the better way to put it is, why don't you recognize him? Why don't you have any inclination of any other aspect of his rank beyond this cybernetic? Because other than that, there's nothing. For all intents and purposes, this man is here in his, like, you know, raggedy clothes that you might expect some low-level collector to be wearing, right? But he has nothing. And it's as he's kind of, like, looking at you, he kind of, like, stirs and is just like, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I want to go home. I want to go home.
She, assesses all of this quickly as she can. And, she kind of places a hand on his shoulder. Not, like, necessarily comfortingly, but not too aggressively either. Just like a, you know, just a gesture. And she says, I won't kill you if you tell me what your mission here is, and any other information relevant to that. I'll be on my way. But be quick, I don't have a lot of time.
They'll kill me if I tell you. I can't tell you. I'll die anyway. They'll kill me.
99% chance they will. Or, she flicks out a scythe blade. 100%. Make your choice.
You see him kind of like weakly with his arm, his one one flesh arm against his stomach, which you see has been cut open once again by claw marks. As he just goes, we were looking out for anyone talking. He seems to assess for a moment. We gotta kill anyone who was talking about Atrium.
She retracts her scythe blade back into her arm. And why is that?
Because if anyone finds out about Atrium, then they might, and it's bad news, and people will be pissed off. The gangs will try and find it, and no one can find it. You can't tell anyone. He's kind of seemingly just delirious at this point, desperate to keep his own skin more than anything, but you see him, he's fast fading.
She pats his chest a couple of times, stands up, and just, as she walks past, trying to make it so quick he won't even, register it ahead of time, just decapitates him as she continues walking.
He kind of just limply topples to the side as his head scatters to the ground. I'm going to give you an opportunity here. I'm going to give you a +1 to this. No, wait. Vex, you tell me. Has your interest in technology ever bled over into gun maintenance, or have you mostly relied on other people to fix your gun?
To be perfectly honest, I don't think. I think she's relied on other people to fix her gun. I don't think she's, she knows enough to, know how to, the basics of putting one together and reloading and, basic maintenance, but nothing beyond that, so, yeah.
Make a roll with a -1, please.
Alright. Yeah, nope.
You step over the broken assault rifle, not able to assess if any of its parts would be useful to fix your gun. And you continue onwards.
And I will say too, as she continues, she is very much in the mode now of being absolutely stealthy and quiet. Now still moving less recklessly, and just full tilt sprint now, and more in the way she usually does of quickly but quietly above all else.
Yeah. I am going to give you a roll here. And I would like you to do it with... I would like you to do this flat.
Okay. Oh, no. That's bad.
You hurry onward. And there is a moment where you realize the sound of the gunfire has stopped. And you no longer have anything to hone in on. It is more time than you would like before you find the next body on the floor, with a second one, or a third, I should say, leaned up further against the corridor. You see a few scratches on the walls where apparently there was a missed swipe of some kind. You see lights that have been blown out by the gunshots. Not all of them. These two don't have assault rifles, they've just got pistols and such. One of them, in fact, is just wielding what looks like a stun stick of some kind. It's big, beefy, heavy. You see that it's been kind of bent out of shape, and you hear it sparking and just on the floor. You round the corner, and you keep going, lost for a little while again. Make me another roll, please. And make it at a flat once more.
Ugh, better, but not good enough.
It takes you a second before you realize there's nothing else on this floor, and you find a stairwell where you see blood dripping up the stairway, and you follow it. I'm going to ask you to give me one last roll.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
So, we're going to do a little something here. It's not going to be a quote, real combat. We are basically going to do a little, I don't want to call it an action scene, but it's more just going to be, I'm going to ask you, some questions here, and we're going to see how it goes down, essentially.
Yep, okay.
You round a corner, and with your reflexes, you manage to catch yourself as, you realize that there is somebody in this hallway. As you kind of back yourself around the corner again, you see one of these people. This guy has an assault rifle. And similar to what you saw with the other dude, it's not the kind of gun. The fact that even two collectors would have assault rifles like this, you've already confirmed that these are not collectors, that they are disguised. But this is just the icing on the cake. To have this good of a hardware on just randos. So, I will ask you, how do you want to go about this? Do you want to just circumvent him and try and see if you can find Ephori, or do you want to try and take him down?
I think, especially with Vex's mindset being what it is, and with the just never-ending adrenaline-fueled shit she's been doing, I think that her current mindset is, these guys are working for Atrium, leaving them alive, even if they won't be, like, if she leaves them alive, then they could just, you know, still be here and be a problem if she needs to do some kind of exit strategy in a bit. And even if not, like, leaving them alive just means they'll have more people on their side down the road. So I think she's going to try to kill him as quickly and quietly as possible.
Okay. I would like you to make me a roll to see if you can successfully get the drop on him. And I would like you to do it with a +2 because of your reflexes.
Can I support that by any chance?
You can. I will let you use that as your... You will have used your forearm for the scene, but you can support that.
Okay. So now I make the attack, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You manage to get up behind him. You are fully in range of killing this man. Make your attack, and I will give you an extra +1 to this for a +2 total.
That is a success.
All right. Could you make your follow-up attack, please?
Oh, of course, yeah. Also a success.
And your next one.
Oh, yeah? Sure, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Also a success.
All right. So that is, for everybody listening, that is to the arms, the legs, and the body. Then you feel free to describe how you take him down.
Going for the head would obviously be the most ideal, but given the situation, she needs to take what she can get, and I think because of that, she explicitly just goes for a dual slash, both directly down and just severs through his arms at, like, the biggest priority, and then from there is just, like, trying to pierce through his armor in as many places as possible and destroy as much of him as possible before he can, like, get a proper reaction in of any kind. You know, in case this guy is more than just, like, you know, a grunt and has some seriously strong armor or something. She is just trying to, like, eviscerate as much as possible with this takedown.
You, thanks to managing to sneak up on him and getting those attacks off, especially since you get his arms first, he doesn't even have the ability to pull the trigger. There is no sound beyond the sound of your blades having that slight humming as they carve through him. Before he can even scream, you have driven your blade into his chest and through his lungs, and then there's naught left to do but to just finish with a blade through the head. Unless you would like to keep him alive to question him as well, or would you like to just make haste?
I think in her mind she's gotten the information the information she, like, needs to have, and just wants to focus on being quick, so she will just drive the blade through his head and keep going. She'll like do the thing where she catches the body partway down too, so it doesn't make, like, a loud thud or anything as she continues.
Mm-hmm. You do so. You continue onwards. You round another corner. You see that there is a worrying blood trail. Lots of blood. And no body this time. Could you please make me a roll with a -1, please?
Okay. Oh, good.
It's as you're looking down that hallway that you hear the sound of a shifting step behind you, and you realize that you were distracted by the blood and there is someone who has tried to creep up on you. He has one of the stun batons, same make, once again confirming that they are from the outside world, the fact that they have 2 mass-produced weapons. I'm gonna make an attack, but he is going to have a negative, he's gonna have a negative to this roll. That can go wherever you want it to.
Could I hinder that?
You could.
Because it would make it a failure in this case, so I'm happy to use my hinder for the scene here.
He is going in for this strike on you, and it is as you are able to pick up on it in time that you just deliver like a fucking a direct boot to his chest to knock him back, to give you the distance and make him off kilter. Make your attack.
That would be the arms again.
And your follow-ups?
Yep. Third one misses this time, but the first two are pretty good.
Well, on this occasion, you once again take his arms out, and the second swipe, it just decapitates him. He's just gone. As he falls to the ground, you miss purely because there's nothing there to kill anymore. You continue making your way. It's as you round the hallway into that worrying amount of blood that you see... Let me make a roll here in secret. It is, as you round this corner, that you see 3 bodies all in a line, and at the end of this hallway, you see there is one person up. They are aiming a gun at someone leant up against the wall on the floor. And that person is Ossuary. He is bleeding so fucking much. You can see that he has been basically shot almost to pieces. And this last guy is like craning over him, cradling his own guts in his hand, as he is like slowly approaching in order to try and execute Ossuary with the pistol that he has, his rifle discarded along the blood pools of his allies. What do you do?
Especially in recent days, Vex has built herself this unusual and kind of grotesque reflex of not necessarily like to save everyone else, but just the very fact that she can take so many hits and bounce back in itself is a weapon. And as such, in this moment, she abandons stealth and almost purposefully loudly just starts sprinting towards this guy to try to take him down, because if he swings around an alarm and gets the drop on her, that's fine. She can take the hits where Ossuary probably can't.
I will let this roll simply succeed if you just take 3 damage without arguing.
Yeah, I'll take 3 damage.
You can make a roll if you would like instead. It's just going to be a matter of like, if you just want this to succeed with no arguments.
It's okay. I think it's fitting in this moment that it would just succeed with no arguments. I'll take out my... Can I defend 1 to with my regeneration? Because I haven't used that this scene.
Yeah, no, there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to, so absolutely.
Okay, in that case, I'll take it to my legs, like I imagine, like, she's this fast-moving target, so, his reflex is, okay, she's moving quickly, aim low, so that, like, you slow her down, and then, like, fill the rest of her with bullets. The bullets start to tear through her legs, but the regeneration reflexively kicks in, focusing all of its efforts on just one of them, such that with like one final leap she can get to him before they're completely destroyed. So I've destroyed 1 bone and 1 foot, but I have 1 left to get to him.
Yeah, as you said, you start to thunder down the hallway, your instinct taking over. You don't care if he hits you. He turns around and, reacting instantly, you see that he's got this scope on built into one of his eyes. As he turns and he starts to fire at you, it is as they are landing into your legs that you make the leap. You register that scope has been cracked and damaged, and you just drive your blades into him. He hits the ground hard with you on top of him. As the last pieces of his life gasp from him, his arm releasing the guts he was holding in place, and more blood joins the small river that is now forming in this hallway. There's a pause. You listen. If there's more people, they're not coming. And Ossuary is there in front of you. He is barely alive. I am going to tell you something here. Your rolls that you've made, in essence, the amount of time that you spent in that combat counted as auto failures for the coming, like, search for him, essentially. Whenever you failed, I subtracted 1. Whenever you succeeded, I obviously did not. Whenever you got a 10, I added 1 back.
So that 10 I got earlier is the only reason he's okay? Oh, man.
So, I'm gonna say this. It was not that you were 1 away from finding him dead. It's that you were 1 away... So, fortunately, you circumvented finding him dead completely by the fact that you just... in the previous session, when Quoth answered the phone and immediately came to get you, and, like, there was no, like, pause with that, that had actually guaranteed that you would not find him just straight up dead. What you avoided was finding him in a state of dying where you would now have to actually actively make rolls to save him.
Oh, God. He is horrible, in horrible shape, but he is stable. That is what I like to hear.
If you had failed, if you had not gotten that 10, you would have had to have basically done triage or find out some way to you would have been on the edge, is what I'm saying. Quoth's quick action is actually what saved you in the last session.
Thank you, Quoth,
completely.
for sure, for your quick action.
He looks up to you. He looks up, weakly kind of lifting his head. You can see that he's actually lost one of his forearms. You don't even see where it is. And he just kind of goes, took your fucking time.
Got held up. She just, we're in an okay, let me think here. We're in an apartment complex. There are still hostiles around. Does it look, like, what are his, like, what's the status of his legs? Does it look like he can move at all?
His legs are pretty badly torn up. You see that there is a number of, really bad exit wounds from gunfire, from, you can see that in that one of his legs, because they're digitigrade, right? You see that, like, one of his reverse knees has been snapped in such a way that it is actually, like, fully inverted. He's not going to be walking on his legs anytime soon without assistance.
Okay. So, in that case, can I ask, where exactly is he? So he's at the end of a hallway, you said, and they're just, like, on either side, it's literally just, like, you know, apartments, you know, doors around?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Vex is going to quickly and quietly try, like, not like a ton, but like, you know, 3 or 4 just nearby doors to see if any of them have been left unlocked and they're like rushed to evacuate or anything.
You check one of the doors. You are mercifully answered by the sound and feeling of it opening. It's in this moment that you register, that you are grabbing a brass door handle. And the numbers are brass as well.
As her hand grips the doorknob to, like, this is probably like the 2nd or 3rd one she's tried before, like, registering that. As it grips the doorknob, it suddenly tightens heavily as she realizes this. But what's important is we find a place to hide, so she you said it opens?
Mm-hmm. It opens. There is an apartment that greets you. It is dusty, long abandoned, everything's overturned. Clearly other people have squatted in here before, considering that the door was in fact left open. There is discarded drugs and food containers and everything of the sort. It's rough in here, but it's somewhere. It's something. It's out of the line of sight.
She drags Ephrai in here, completely out of sight of any windows or any other possible entry points, and closes and well, I guess she probably... is there a way to lock the door on these?
There is. On the inside, there is a little latch that you can click.
Obviously, that won't do much, but she locks it anyway, just almost maybe out of muscle memory. And goes to attend to him, and basically mutters, "Just give me a minute. I need to get more intact myself, and then we can get moving." And she's gonna try to, like, he sees her, like, clutch her chest again, and just tries to, like, you know, kind of not saying it out loud this time, but mentally, like, okay, come on, we need to stitch ourselves up, you know, trying the same thing again, basically.
You manage to regenerate one extra part before you suddenly feel this intense hunger pang stab through your stomach. And there is this groan from it. What part are you regenerating? I'll ask real quick.
Okay, I'll get my foot back.
You click your foot back into place as it regenerates, and that hunger pang stabs into you as you kind of almost double over from how bad it is. And there is this pulse from your heart that you feel that's like as if it's almost like it skips a beat. There's like a flutter almost. Can you make me a roll with a +1, please?
Okay, good.
You feel this thought come to mind, but it's not as if like you think of it, but then you're just like, why? You just realize there's no real reason why you thought of it. And you recognize that this is a piece of information that's being fed to you somehow, as you just get the thought in your head of out of fuel.
She kind of seems a bit startled by that, but then, I mean, at this point, it's hardly the craziest thing that's happened. Evrai just sees her, like, nod to no one for a moment before sighing. Alright, we need to find a way out of here. Do you know the best way?
Best or safest?
I think safest is best in this situation.
Well, he swallows hard and kind of props himself up with his arms as he just kind of goes, safest would probably be to get down to the bottom floor. Once we're there, we don't have to worry about any of the crumbling infrastructure around here. I'm sure you saw on the way, it's not exactly an easy prospect, considering how bad of a shape most of this place is.
But this is...
Yep.
She kind of looks up, looking around the room. Does it... Obviously it's stripped bare, but does just the structure of the room recall any memories? The layout?
Make me a roll with a +1, please. It's mirrored, but this feels familiar. The way that the bathroom is attached to the corner of this apartment, and the way that there is almost a fake distinction between the living room and the bedroom, like a half wall that just provides some privacy. This feels familiar.
Fuck. We're not gonna get another chance, are we?
If we leave now, I can't say for certain whether they're gonna comb this place. I don't know whether they think that I'm here, or that we're here for the reason that we are. But I'm not gonna take that fucking chance. If you are, then I'm staying.
Comb this place. She kind of chuckles for a second, almost in this deranged way before looking at him. fuck combing this place. They might demolish this building after we leave. This is a whole fucking conspiracy, FRI. They know about Atrium. They want to find the people that know about Atrium and get rid of them. They're holding fucking Lotus's entire building hostage.
What? What do you mean by that?
Quickly and messily, staying as quiet as possible, she basically tells him, like, not the whole story of what exactly went down between her, Lotus, and Quoth, but basically that Lotus has informed her that Atrium, there is some, she basically quickly tells him about the underground passage, the bomb, Atrium holding them hostage, and a woman named Olivia who seems to be, who she remembered, who is key to shit, that is the one that seems to be, that is the one that came to Lotus and told her, if she ever spills the beans that she'll blow up her building and like all that kind of information. And she mentions the geothermal vents in the cave as well. And basically wraps that up with like, and I don't need to tell you what that means. Fuck.
He looks wide-eyed and he's just like, God, she's been holding out on something like that for all this time. I'm honestly kind of impressed that she kept it from me. Then again, I don't exactly go prying into the affairs of people I actually give a shit about. Unless they want me to. He nods to you. And just goes, that broken bed. Get some of the steel tubing from that and pass it here.
She does so without question. Just starts prying shit off of it with her blades.
You give it to him. He starts tearing at some old material that's been left behind, as well as some of the remnants of his own clothing on his lower legs. And he kind of like starts to fashion this splint on the leg which has the like inverted knee. And he just goes, right, this is gonna suck. And I'm not normally, believe it or not, I'm not exactly the combat type, if I can help it. Can you help me to bend my knee back into place, please?
She just nods and gets into position to do that.
Alright, on the count of 3. 1.
She does it.
He screams as that happens. No, I'm gonna make him a roll to see if he can stop himself from screaming. Actually, this is important.
I'll support him with my forearm covering his mouth as he goes to do it. Oh, thank God. Yeah, yep. I'll support that to make it a crit. Yeah, no problem.
A muffled scream leaves his mouth, which is further dampened by your hand being pressed over it. As you reverse his digitigrade leg back into its proper position with a horrifying and sickening crunch, and you help him to start like creating this splint, which will make it so that the leg is at least like, something he can kind of tentatively put weight on with help.
It's in the right shape.
It's in the right shape, and he will be able to, put an arm around you and get hoisted around. And he you finish doing that up, and he goes, do you remember what floor it was on? Or anything like that you said about the burned out apartment? I remember seeing, God, where was it? I think on the western side of the building, I saw that there was remnants of an old fire. Maybe we can start there.
She closes her eyes for a second, trying to remember, trying to focus. And thank God I wrote this down in my notes, because she then opens her eyes a second later. 4th floor, 7th apartment. That was what was on the key. 47, right. Yeah, right. What floor are they on now?
You remember you saw the number that was on the door that you opened. It was number 82 that you're currently in, which means you're on the 8th floor.
She indeed starts hoisting him up onto herself. But she kind of whispers, God knows how many... Do you know how many more there are? They could send more at any minute anyway, but...
I don't know anymore. They were disguised like collectors, and I can't say for certain exactly how many. I'm pretty sure I lost count of how many I was killing. Around the third, fourth one. Adrenaline. He kind of racks his brain for a moment as he goes, I think there's still a handful of them moseying around here, but if I were to guess, they might be starting to wrap things up, considering I'm not hearing any active hustling around here. I imagine they're probably going to report back if they're actually part of Atrium, like you said. But we couldn't trust the gangs in the first place. But if they're disguising themselves...
Until you and I get out of this, we need to assume everyone's working for Atrium.
He kind of nods grimly as he goes, hold on. He kind of like motions for you to motions for you to lean him against the side of the door. Crack the door open a little. I want to listen.
She unlocks the door and turns the knob, and with just the slightest of creaks, just cracks it open.
He listens.
Oh, thank you, F.R.I. Fuck yes.
You see him like put a hand up to just, quiet. And you see him just like close his eyes and focus. You see his ears like twitching as if to, really take in everything in every direction. There's a moment where they're pointed backward, forward, just taking every angle possible. He stops and goes, right, I'm hearing movement, but I think it's above us. If we can move to the bottom, if we can move down the floor quickly, then we might get lucky and they won't hear us, but we gotta keep quiet.
Just real quick, how the fuck did they find out you were looking into this? Were you mentioning Atrium?
What do you mean, was I? Yes, I was mentioning Atrium. I was trying to poke the bear and see if anybody gave it up. It's the kind of thing you do when you have information like that. I'll admit, I wasn't exactly expecting this kind of a response. I didn't think they had this kind of hardware on them, and I wasn't exactly expecting them to have people infiltrated into a gang. Vex.
She holds up her hand. It's fine. It's fine. I just had to make sure, because if you didn't give it up, someone else I trust did. So thankfully, that hasn't happened. She kind of sighs in relief.
Right.
We're gonna have to move fast even on your busted ass legs, so get ready. And she gets into position to just go as quickly as she can with them as soon as coast is clear.
Hey gang, welcome to the break. We're going to make this one a little bit shorter just because I'm kind of tired and also my voice is a little scrungly right now, so I don't want to stress it out too much. But if you've been enjoying Heart of Hope, then I would encourage you to consider supporting us over on patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that is eternal_savvy. We don't currently have episodes ahead of time right now, just because I've been a little run ragged from having to move. But when we do have everything squared away with that move and we're back on schedule, for as little as $1 a month, you will be able to get that episode ahead of time. And also a couple of extra materials on there, because I did actually make a couple of custom assets for the game, even though we don't have a visual component. But any amount is super helpful because it helps to keep a roof over my head, to keep games like this running, and also lets us commission other human artists. One of the things that we use the money for is to commission other real people to make music for the game. So you've been hearing various tracks that have been uniquely commissioned for Heart of Hope throughout the series, and I intend to keep doing it, especially if we get more money in. So please consider supporting us, and if you can only do it on a one-time basis, then you can do so over on Ko-Fi instead at the same @ of Eternal_Savvy. I'm pretty much the same thing everywhere, except for my VOD channel, which is staying_savvy, but I am on Twitch as well. And I'm also on Blue Sky, which is where you can send me fan art of the show. So if you use the hashtag Heart of Hope and tag me at Eternal_Savvy on Blue Sky, then we will get that up on the carousel unless you say otherwise. And you can also submit it on my Discord server in the fan art channel, where you can also discuss the show with other people who've been listening if you'd like to. And speaking of discussion, if you've been listening to this on YouTube, then please consider dropping a comment, hitting like, and subscribing, and just letting the algorithm know that this is a good thing and this is something that people should be listening to. If you're just on one of the RSS feeds, then the 5-star function is always appreciated as well. But other than that, thankfully, we don't have too much more to go through today with the break, so I'll leave it there. But thank you, everybody, so much for continuing to support the show while I am dealing with this move. It's super appreciated, and we'll leave you to it. Thanks very much. See you next time. You see him quickly grab a piece of cloth and roll it up into a little, like, bit, and he puts it into his own mouth between his razor-sharp teeth, and then resumes leaning on you. Fortunately, the height difference between you is not as severe as someone like the Iron Asherah or, God forbid, Brimstone, but it is definitely a thing of, like, you are kind of like being pressed down on by a very tall individual here, so it's a bit awkward. Make me a roll with a -1 because you have someone on you.
Yep. Oh no. That is the worst thing it could have been, just about.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to spend anything to improve that?
Well, let's see. I just supported him with my forearm.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Make me a conversation check with Ossuary.
Okay.
Because you were talking to him. I'm trying to be better about remembering that.
Yep.
You got it.
I got it. So I can remove something from his thing. Yeah. All right. Well, the conversation check's successful, but unfortunately, it's still a 1, and like, I guess I could re-roll that.
All right.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
You feel that there was a moment where you might have slipped. You, in the nick of time, remember the scent of blood in your nose. That ferrous, acrid smell matched up with the cybernetics, the sparking stun baton. And you just barely catch yourself from slipping. And you make your way. Ossuary is limping incredibly badly, but bites down, takes it. You hear him making these muffled, pained grunts. And eventually you get to the stairwell. There is a moment where you basically are about to go down before Ossuary just like grabs the railing and uses that to like actually get down on one leg that he has that can support his weight. And in time you are down a floor to the 7th floor. You feel every footstep, every moment, every hesitation, every single moment where Ossuary pauses to listen again, agonizing. And eventually, you're at the 4th floor. You walk out into the hallway, and you round the corner, and you see it's not the hallway in front of you. You see the turning into the hallway in front of you. If this is the place, then when you turn that corner, you'll see the phone.
For just a moment, she hesitates, suddenly stopping the kind of awkward rhythm that the two of them have built walking like this together as she freezes up just for a second. But they have to keep moving, and she doesn't want Everai to think that she's that she's hesitating now at this pivotal moment, so it's only for a second as she swallows and inwardly tenses as she continues.
You round the corner, and you see a door labeled with brass numbers. One hanging limply, one burned as if a fire had ravaged it, one with bullet holes shot through it, another painted not freshly anymore, but more newly than the others. And at the end of that hallway, the phone from your dreams. And to your left, apartment 47.
It's such a natural and easy and automatic reflex in this city and in Vex's life to suppress emotion, reaction, everything except a quiet anger and stoicism. But it's been a long day, and there's only so much she can take. In this moment, she almost fully just not quite gasps, but she flinches, and Ephrai feels the arm that's like wrapped around his waist, helping to hold him up. Her fingers clench and just tighten around like the folds of his clothing as she stops dead in her tracks, just staring down the hallway towards it. Oh my god. Fuck.
Vex, stop.
I'm sorry.
He like leans on you harder. No, you don't. Get us back around the corner, now.
She does so as quickly as possible.
He swallows hard as you kind of like lean him against the wall. And he just goes, "There is a camera."
What?
There was a camera. It was hidden. But I got these eyes for a fucking reason, and I can see the infrared stuff that goes on with them.
Did it see us?
I don't know.
If we can get that camera, could you read could you tell anything about it?
I'm sure it'd be helpful.
Vex grits her teeth as her shocked, deer in the headlights expression warps into one of anger and determination again. And she just looks at Ephrai. Wait here.
You're about to leave and he grabs you and he just goes, "Fuck, no, I'm not waiting here. I've been looking I bled for this, Vex."
I'll be right back.
He grits his teeth and just lets you go.
Vex rounds the corner of the hallway again. This time she looks for the hidden camera. I assume that once it's been pointed out, she can probably see where it is. If not, he could point it out for her.
There is a mess of cabling which trails across the ceilings in this apartment. So common these days, considering that, so much of the power infrastructure and such in this city is reliant on cables like that. It's always a mess. Less so here. But sure enough, he indicates, and up in that wiring and cabling above the phone, you see the slight glimmer of a lens.
And this time, with no pretense of stealth or caution, she, glowering towards it, defiantly, just marches right up to the camera. And presumably needs to jump up or climb up a little bit, bracing herself against a wall, but would wrench it from its hiding place. Is it attached to anything, or is it just, like, by itself?
It is indeed anchored into the ceiling, and you see that there is various cables attached to it. You recognize now that, as with what I've established before, there's no way this thing is wireless. It is definitely connected to some kind of hub that is redirecting it to wherever it needs to go.
And she just glares into the lens with her ever-reddening eyes and hisses. I don't know if this is live or if it even has audio, but I almost hope it does. Whoever you fuckers are, and why ever you fucking did this to me, I'm here to tell you, you fucked up. And she just rips it out of the wall.
The snapping and sparking of the camera as you wrench it downwards and disconnect it. And Everai kind of leans around the corner and just goes, and what exactly was that doing that would help the situation of X?
Her eye just twitches as she just hands him the camera.
He takes it and he examines it briefly. You kind of like go to grab him and start moving towards the door. As he goes, he doesn't have onboard storage. The whatever cables that if we could track back the cables, we could probably find a hub, but fuck that for now. He puts it into one of his pouches. And you go to the door. Number 47. He leans himself up against the wall to allow you to retrieve your stuff. And he just looks to you. Well, now or never, right?
I choose now. And, I believe I have that key, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
She retrieves it, puts it into the lock. With a shaking hand, she turns it.
You feel the tumblers click into place. You turn the key, and you feel the deadlock latches slide away. You grasp the handle, and the door opens. You weren't prepared for how it felt when you opened this door. You push forward and step inside, and it is like you were hit by a wave. You hadn't seen it for 8 years, but it's home. You see in front of you in the living room, directly in front of you, is a desk. And behind it, bookshelves filled with books. To your right, a side table, which houses a set of drawers, a place to rest your boots. You see a number of pairs of boots, which must all be yours. You see a place to hang a coat, and there's one hanged there. And you see a small little dish that you know you used to put your keys in whenever you arrived home. You smell the scent that has been present the entire time you've lived here, which you've now come to know as just the way Hope's Rise is. That acrid dust that permeates things. Now more strong than ever with how coated everything is. As your foot hits the concrete, you see it kick up a plume of motes into the air. You flick on the light, and the incandescent bulb illuminates everything clearer. And you see off in the corner half hidden by a wall, where there's a double bed, simply dressed with black sheets. And you see on the desk now, with the light on, a stack of paper, a pen, and a set of pencils. And next to it, a pile of drawings in a messy but singular pile. And you remember the feeling of lead against paper, the vibrations at your fingertips. You remember pulling off books from shelves. You remember sitting in the chair, the comfy chair you have in the corner that you see now. A stack of books sat on another side table near it. You remember waking up, getting dressed, eating and leaving. But more than anything, you remember the way that you would sit down and you would note everything that you just experienced in your diary, in your journal. But more than anything, what washes over you is a sense of safety, in contrary to your adrenaline. What do you do?
Just in a daze, like nothing else matters. The decay, the situation all fade deeply into transparency for a moment as she just wanders around, looking at the papers and the books, feeling the covers on the bed, and just remembering.
Ephraim kind of stumbles in and looks to you. He seemingly picks up on the fact that this is a lot for you and doesn't really bother you as he leans up against whatever furniture is nearby, the side table at the door. Can you make me a roll, please, with a +1? You pass by your bed and run your fingers over the now musty covers. It's a double bed. It's pretty decent, all things considered, for Hope's Rise. You remember the warm, sleepless and restful nights that you've had here, and for a moment you feel your heart beat, and there's this small sense of butterflies in your stomach. For just a moment. That isn't yours.
She frowns at that. Not only at its unexpected source, but that's just a feeling that maybe even more than anything else she has long, long forgotten. As just a kind of experiment, she lays down in the bed, looking up at the ceiling. It's surely a familiar sight, a familiar feeling. Does she feel anything more?
Make me a roll with a +1 again.
Thank you, roll 20.
You look up at your ceiling, and for a moment it's white. Clinical white. And you feel that sense in your stomach again. You come back and you feel yourself in your bed, and you feel that sense of familiarity. For a brief moment, you feel yourself in a memory where you wake up and you roll out of bed and you wish so badly that you could get back into bed. And then you and then you flash to a clinical room around you of naught but white. And you wish so badly that you could be in bed again and that you didn't have to get up. And you so badly wish you had company. And then you're back.
She bristles slightly at these thoughts that she doesn't even know how to begin sorting out or dissecting, and gets back up again. She has a job to do. This is important. She can't just lay down and take a nap. So she scratches her neck a little bit and in less of a daze now starts more properly looking around for any clues, any details, no matter how small, that she may have left herself. She apparently knew how to write codes, so maybe there's some clue or code here that she left herself too.
You start to go through drawers and stuff, and Ossuary takes that as a prompt to start doing the same as he begins, not frantically or anything, just tentatively pulling through drawers. You thank him that he, at least, even on your time limit, at least gave you that moment. But he, perhaps a little too keenly, starts to search through what you have here. You're pulling through your various documents and stuff. You see that there is something you don't see in Hope's Rise very often at all. You see a stack of pay slips inside of one of your drawers. It just has codes from, like, no distinct information about, like, company or whatever, very clearly, like, under the table stuff of something being just given to you and, no written record of who it gave it to you, that kind of a thing. You find another drawer which has got various cash inside of it. Please add 4 favor to your sheet as you find this stash of cash.
Thanks, pass me.
Yeah. You look through the books. You start with the ones which are over by the small chair, well, the comfy chair that you used to sit in. And I'm going to ask you, what kind of books did you read?
Oh, wow. Let me think for a sec. Given what I know and what has been said about Vex's past self, combined with her current self, I think it's like... I think that it's a lot of... I honestly think it's a lot of nonfiction, like, history. Nothing, like, overly specific, like, not like, here's everything you need to know on this one specific topic, but more just, like, broad scope stuff. About, like, the state of the world, recent history, recent events, things like that. And I think there are probably also some, like, engineering and, like, the history of how, like, certain machines were developed, and how they fit together. And I also think there's probably... Well, I'll ask you this one. Do you think there'd be a book about stuff like codes and, like, writing in cipher and, like, stuff like that? Or would she have learned that elsewhere and, like, not just keep something like that around,
You do not find any book of that nature. This appears to all be reading for your own leisure. But you kind of thumb through some of the books. They're familiar. The synthetic leather and synthetic paper that they're printed on detracts somewhat from the sensation of flipping through them, but it's also something which is not unpleasant to do. You remember the times that you've maybe been intrigued or surprised by a piece of information you learned from the history of some part of the world or some set of machinery.
Yeah, just to elaborate just a little bit more too, I think that the books are on a variety of topics for sure, like what I listed, but I think that a commonality between them is that they are all like, it isn't just like, here is a book about how this specific device works, or a book about like, you know, this specific event that happened or anything. They're all books that like in some way deal with why those things are like that. It's the through line of history and development that led to that event transpiring or that thing being designed the way it is. All of which is a theme that I think current Vex really can't imagine giving a shit about at all, because in Hope's Rise, everything is about the right now and like how you're going to live through today and tomorrow. You don't care about the yesterdays that brought you here. And you see that Ephori at this point has been going through some of the bookshelves behind the desk as well himself, seeing the similar through line as he finally tentatively breaks the silence that has been kind of choking the air as he pulls one of the books, and it's like this history book, and he just goes, fucking hell. That is... How'd you get a hold of that? And you kind of walk over and you see that it is this old book. It is a book which is, you think, like, for a moment, you're like, is this real paper? And he kind of looks to you and he just goes, this is not the kind of topic that they just let anybody get hold of these days in, well, I guess the outside world. I guess Hope's Rise is the only place you could get something like this. And you see the title, The Rise of Tyranny and How Regular People Relate. The author's name underneath it is unfamiliar to you. But it looks like an old piece of text which is almost partially philosophical, which is talking about the history of, like, fascism, basically. Something which the outside world would... no two ways about it, this is a book that would be destroyed in the outside world. And he goes, that must not have been cheap. She just shrugs. What would you even do with a book like that anyway?
You'd think about it. That's why they don't like it. He puts it back on the shelf. And it's at this point that one of the books strikes you. Amongst all of them, you almost miss it because compared to all of these other tomes, it is remarkably much thinner, and it's a different dimension, set of dimensions as well. It's shorter, more squat. You see that the cover is much more notably new. It almost... You take a second and you realize that the binding is homemade. There's no title on the side of it.
She grabs it and probably doesn't immediately think much of it as she opens it, but she opens it.
You grab the book and you pull it off of the shelf, and he watches you do this. And you see on the cover, drawn on, is a tree. A tree inside of a gilded cage. And written at the top, in what you assume to be a hand-drawn title. It says, The Garden of Cages.
Vex's eyes widen substantially, and she just taps Ephraim on the shoulder and shows him.
His eyes widen, the pupils getting that, like, you know, dilation as like, oh shit, as he pays attention. And he looks to you, and he doesn't say anything yet, but he very clearly, like, gestures for you to open it as you do. And you see that it's like a child's storybook, almost. Each page has an illustration matched with just a couple of sentences of a story. And you see, as you flip to one of the pages, is an illustration of several plants. A lily, a black sesame, a mulberry bush, a holly bush, and an olive bush. And you see the narration that says, but the most notable plants of this garden were the lily, the sesame, the mulberry, the holly, and the olives, for they all knew each other well. And it's at this point that Ephraim, you hear him, like, inhale in that excited way of just like, oh shit, and he just goes, this is it. This is the cipher.
She flips through a few more pages to see if there's anything similarly significant, mostly skimming for now, since they don't have time to, like, sit here and decode everything right now, I'm sure.
You thumb one of the pages before you're interrupted.
She drops the book onto the floor.
Careful, He hears it, seemingly somehow after you, just completely zoned in. And you realize the phone is ringing.
She stands there, frozen.
It keeps ringing. Ephraim looks to you and just goes, well?
Be ready to move. She picks up the book and thrusts it against him before she peers out of the door, cracking it open. Does it seem like is there anyone in the hallway?
There's no one in the hallway. You just see the cracked screen of the phone, and the sound becomes clearer as you see one of the LEDs glimmering in time with the ring.
One hollow and ghostly step after another, she, like she's in a dream all over again, approaches the phone. And this time with a truly shaking hand, answers it.
I would like you to add 2 points of bloodthirst to your sheet, please. Because the voice you hear on the other end is familiar to you. As Olivia says, hello. Would you care to explain who you are?